We'll um probably start off over in the NFC, where the Seahawks had your first round bye. The three games that were on were Panthers, Rams, Eagles, Niners, then Bears, Packers. The Rams almost being upset in that one by the Panthers. Remember watching that. We thought the Panthers had a shot for a little bit. Then the 49ers, the injured 49ers being the Eagles. That's what's crazy about the 49ers is like how good of a team are they really when half of the defense doesn't have a torn Achilles.
Yeah. Well, another thing about these close games, like you're talking, I don't remember the stat, but there was a crazy number of like fourth quarter comebacks and teams back and forth and back and forth. So all that to say, the playoffs this year have been incredibly, incredibly exciting. You think about that, Bears Rams game, in the freezing cold where the Rams pulled that out to get to go, to the NFC Championship game. With the exception of a couple games, very close, very back and forth. Some teams coming behind, some game-winning drives, and that's what you like to see. That's why I like the playoffs in the NFL. I could care less about the regular season, but in the playoffs, I just think the teams have more pride. I think they care. Not that they don't care, but I think they care a little more. I think everything is turned up, and that's why I love the playoffs. There's just that added pressure of look, if I lose, I'm done. And I just think that adds to great theater for football and for the playoffs.
Yeah, and then the Bears Packers game. That one's probably been the best and probably my favorite game of the whole playoffs. Just the Bears mounting that 28-point comeback against a big rival. That's probably one of the best games in that rivalry's history. Of course, I don't know. Um, it's insane though. That game was so much fun to watch. I was really hoping the Bears would go deeper, but it was hard to play the Rams in that second round for them.
Yeah, in that game, like Williams had like 3 or 4 picks, and you just can't do that.
And 28 points in the fourth
Yeah,
quarter.
you can't do that against the Rams. He had that crazy touchdown play where he's running and falling off his back foot, goes to the corner of the end zone. Um, it tied, I think it was. So that game was so back. I was listening to it on the radio and was screaming and smacking my dashboard. Um, you have the Broncos Patriots game with a ton of missed field goals and a blizzard in Denver. The Patriots come out on top of that one. I'll just say I don't see anybody beating the Seahawks. They were dominant all year. What's interesting, and we talked about this, is they in the second round, because they had the first round bye, they played the 49ers, who were in their division. They win 41-6. And then in the NFC Championship game, they play the Rams, who were also in their division, and they win that game 31-27. So the Seahawks have had a lot of familiarity, particularly with their
And then
division.
they play the Super Bowl in the 49ers stadium.
Oh yeah, on top of that. So yeah, there is that. Good
So
pickup.
they're just staying in home territory.
So they're just hanging out west. I just especially with Sam Darnold and the way he's playing and throwing the ball, and Smith-Njigba and that Seahawks vaunted defense and special teams. I just think it's Seattle's to lose.
Could you imagine though telling someone at the start of the season, like back in our first episode when we were dead wrong on our predictions, um, we said the Seahawks and the Patriots would be your Super Bowl matchup when the Patriots were, I think it was Fox. They threw up a graphic before the season started. Patriots had a .94% chance to win that division.
Yeah. Well, look who's not there. Okay, the Ravens aren't there. The Bengals are not there. The Colts played so good for so long. They're not there. The Chiefs are not there. No Washington this year. No Dallas again this year. No Vikings. No Lions. You know, 3 of the 4 teams get in out of the NFC West, and the NFC South was basically playing who wants to lose their division. Came down to multiple tiebreakers between Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Atlanta. So yeah, just it's again, as much as anything, like you said, look at who's not there. For, based on those who have been there for so long, it's the first playoff in however long, that didn't have Mahomes in it. I think
And
it's the first.
didn't they say this was like the first? I think we were about to say the
Yeah,
same thing. And in like the first playoff since like 2003 to not have a Manning, Brady, or Mahomes.
Mahomes. Yeah, so those were broken. But it's neat to see this. Now there's a lot of 10 teams out of the 32 that have a brand new head coach.
Yeah,
Almost
I
a
actually had that graphic pulled up if
almost
you
a
wanted to talk
third.
about the
Yeah,
coach carousel.
almost a third of the league now has a brand new coach.